Hey, that red light means that we are live.
That means get to sharing, people.
Sharing. Yeah. So, last night I saw that, Jamie, on your personal one, you had a whole bunch of comments that we missed, and people probably thinking that we're ignoring them.
I know, that was crazy.
Yeah, there was like so many. I was like, oh my goodness, we missed all of those comments. So,
And so you know what, the story behind that was because I was like, man, I'm none of my friends are watching the show with me. I was like, they're all the friends that we have are just from YouTube, and I was like, man, maybe my friends think I stink, or they just up past their bedtime or something like that. So I was like, we had an extra stream with our account, and I was like, I'm just gonna throw it on there and see what happens, and then so we were getting more comments. I was like, oh, wait a minute. And Jennifer, you were commenting on there. Thank you for watching us last night. Rodimus, you were there. There was a few other people, some buddies and stuff. So, yeah, I was pretty impressed.
I know. I went back and I looked and I was like, hey, I didn't even see Rod pop in.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And so, at least you feel good about it, because you were wondering if you were like not bringing any people to the show.
I really thought I stunk.
Right. What kind of friends?
You're like, what? You were about to like unfriend everybody in your list, basically.
I was, and then I was going to go in a corner and just cry and cry and cry and be like, they don't love me. They don't love me. No. So, no, that's not what happened. But I was happy. Thanks, guys, for commenting.
Awesome. Wow, she's already getting going. Look at that.
I know.
Hella Fred.
That's so cool. I need to give a shout out to my dad right quick. I love my dad. I told him I was going to tell him last night, guys, and I didn't.
Oh, you totally.
So,
okay, give him a shout out, because then we got to do our business.
Okay, I love my dad. Dad, his name is Aurelio Pina II, and he's a good guy, and he was a post office man, and he is retired now and just living it up there in Lubbock, Texas. So I do love to go visit him.
So. You need to get one of those little signs that says "Hi, Mom" and "Hi, Dad."
I just raise them up for the show, so they know that you're thinking about them.
That's funny. That's funny. All right, I'm good now.
All right, cool. So our business of the day is for our coffee people. This business is called Tierras Planas Roasters Supply Coffee Shops. Restaurants and coffee lovers with some of the world's best coffees, sourced ethically through very long-standing relationships, roasted weekly in Lubbock, Texas, sourcing coffees from Central and South America, Africa, and Asia Pacifica, shout out, gives Tierras Planas Roasters a very broad range of flavor profiles and options. We sell retail weekly at the Wolford Farmers Market and online at tierrasplanasroasters.com. We will put that information on our little stream here, so you guys can get all that. But so if you're a coffee person and like freshly roasted coffee beans, I think they're the way to go.
I like the way they smell.
Yeah, everyone's a coffee drinker, and I am not. The only time that I even get a coffee flavor is when I eat tiramisu, and that's it.
You're going to show us a tiramisu.
I'm about to make a tiramisu, actually, and a strawberry misu.
What?
Yes, I am totally going to even try to do videos, Sandy or Carrie, whoever it was that suggested to us that we should do a video. So just a little hint, I'm planning on doing a video of it, and then I don't know if I can edit it right, but then we'll show it during the show so you guys can see.
Oh, how cool.
I don't know, but we're going to see. But either way, I'll definitely have pictures of both the tiramisu and the strawberry misu.
I don't want to see them.
I do. I can't eat him, but I want to see him.
Thank you, Sandy.
No, it's not even about seeing him. He just never sends me any of his desserts. I have to make my own.
Oh.
Not well.
I was going to say, but
I made Zupas Toscano today, though.
Hey, that looked really good and fancy.
I know, right? I was like, look at me.
The whole
can follow
recipes.
I gotta go look, man. I think I missed that one. That's weird.
Yeah,
I always try to watch those.
I did a 3D picture of it too.
That just showed up actually.
It posted it. It said, "Hey, do you want to make it a 3D picture?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I will do that."
You're like totes.
So, Jamie, who do we have on the show today?
Isn't it exciting? So, I have a phenomenal guest tonight for us. She comes all the way from Illinois, and she is just one of the greatest speakers I've ever had the pleasure hearing. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. And I'm not even like, that's not just a shameless whatever because we have a guest on. This is legit one of the greatest speakers I've ever heard. She moved my life when I heard her speak one time about shining the spotlight on someone. And she was talking about how the spotlight shone on her and take that opportunity to take that spotlight and shine it on others. And it was such a great way to hear how basically what I kind of like to do in my life, but to hear it put so elegantly and just worded so beautifully, I was like, I'm going to adopt that philosophy. And so now I practice that and I tell people, yes, take the opportunity when you get the light shone on you to shine it on someone else also. And so it's because of her that I have that and that I can share. And I'm so glad that she decided to come on with us tonight here on the Social Undistancing
That is
Show.
awesome because it is something that I need to learn.
Really? Well, then we've got the right person.
Yes, I'm ready
So
to share the spotlight.
she is a keynote speaker. She's a consultant and a communication coach. She has her own website you can go to her Facebook page at Kim Presents, and you can see so much more of her. But enough about what I'm talking about. Let's bring her on the show, okay?
Okay, yay.
Awesome. Yay. Oh,
Hey,
man.
hey, guys.
Hi,
Hey.
Kim. Welcome to the
wait.
show.
Wow, what a wonderful intro. Jamie, my goodness. Jay Pineapples. I mean,
Yeah.
pumping me up. I'm flattered. No
Let me
It's so
problem.
tell
easy.
you,
It's so easy.
we bring people up all the way, and it's your fault if it falls down from
Right.
I can't imagine that with you though, Kim. I
Yeah.
could not imagine that with you. So
Oh my gosh. Wow.
well,
Let's
thank
get
you for
into it
coming
here.
tonight. I really appreciate this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think what you're doing is awesome. And when you talk about shining the spotlight on others, that's what you're doing every time you bring a new guest on the show. And what a perfect time to have this conversation when we can't be together. We can still be
Right.
together virtually. So
Right. Well, thank you for providing that for me, for giving me the inspiration. I really appreciate that.
absolutely. Absolutely. You all,
So
yeah, go ahead,
oh, no,
Jamie.
I was gonna say, so look, I could spend all night just giving you accolades, but I know a lot about you, Kim, because like I said, I've had the pleasure of seeing you. But I know that my friends here, Joe and Sandy, they don't know a lot about you, and all of our guests who are showing up tonight, maybe they want to know a little bit more. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Let's start at the very beginning. Every time I say that, I always think of the Sound of Music. Let's start at the very beginning. But
I love that musical.
so good. It's very positive. But yeah, so the beginning really started with where do I begin? I'm a former television news anchor and reporter, and I studied that in college. And before I went to the university, I remember having a conversation with my folks. I said, I want to be an actor. I really want to be an actor. And they said, that's great, but you're also a really good communicator. And sometimes when you are on TV, you have that presence to do both, right? It's a little bit of being show ready when you're on television, and so you're still putting your theater skills to good use. And I thought, hey, you've got a point there. So I decided to choose broadcast journalism as my major, and so graduated with that, and again went on to the television station. So I was a reporter and anchor for CBS and a Fox affiliate, so two sister stations combined, and did that for a while, and then realized that, gee, I'd like to take this skill, this storytelling skill, kind of that shining the spotlight on others. News really taught me a lot about that, because every day I was going out and I'm talking to new people. I'm telling stories from people I meet on the street, or leads that I would get from viewers, news that matter to the community. So it was always about shining the spotlight on someone else. And I really believe that everybody has a story. And if we just take time to ask them questions and get to know one another, or get to know someone else, how beautiful their story really is. And it's about bringing that out of someone. And so I decided to set my sights a couple other places. And when I got out of TV news, I still had this desire to share stories and to be in front of people.
Mhm.
And that's how I discovered public speaking, right? Because public speaking gets you in front of people. It
Sure
allows
does.
right? It allows you to be creative, and it makes you uncomfortable. And TV,
Totally uncomfortable.
Right? Right? And TV did the same thing. Allowed me to tell stories, allowed me to be creative, get in front of people, and made me uncomfortable. So it was all of those things combined that were still satisfying those needs. So I got into public speaking, and I found an organization called Toastmasters International. Toastmasters International. And it's just that, it's international. So anybody watching the show tonight, there should be a Toastmasters club in their community, if not close to their community. And so I decided to get involved in that. And that's actually where I met Jay Pineapples. I really like that name.
Yeah.
Our broadcasting late, Jay Pineapples.
Yep. I like it. It's kind of fitting.
It's totally good. It's so great. And so, so we got to know each other through the club. And Jamie was actually my mentor in Toastmasters, and he said,
"You're being modest now because you did not need a mentor. You're awesome, Kim." And
after my first speech that I gave to the club, Jamie said, "All right, Kim, I know we have to give each other evaluations, but the kid gloves are coming off with you."
Oh my God! Yeah. I do actually. I do remember that.
Real feedback because you're beyond, whatever.
Yeah.
You're like, it was good.
And it was. That was the hard part, guys. Like hearing her speak, I was kind of like, first speech. I was like, what? And so in Toastmasters, we got these little forms that we have to evaluate them on. And I was looking at this and I was like, I can't go with it was just great. I'm like, this is a professional. Like she can handle this. And I thought, you know what? Let me just find the cracks that are there.
Oh, wow.
And so, I mean, I had to dig though, guys. It's hard, but it wasn't anything negative on Kim. It was just like, yeah, she was spectacular. She's a spectacular speaker.
Wow.
I tell you, so, and let's go back to that theme tonight, that shining the spotlight. So Jamie said to me, he said, there is a contest that Toastmasters does, and it's an international speech contest. And he said, I know you just joined the club, but if you work really hard, you can get, because you have to give a certain number of speeches to qualify to compete.
Right.
So he said, if you work really hard, I know you can do that. And so he pushed me to get those speeches done. And then I ended up signing up to compete in an international speech contest. So this isn't just competing against the best of the best speakers across the United States. This is globally. So no pressure, right?
No, none, right? None.
Did that yesterday on the internet.
So the whole purpose with this is to you have to write an inspirational speech. It has to be 7 minutes. 7 minutes, and inspirational is I mean that's limitless. I mean,
it's an eternity. For me.
She said it was an eternity.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And so ended up writing a speech and then just competing. And in order to advance to the next levels, you have to win first place. And it just so happened that just kept occurring. That won first place the next contest, and the competition got tougher, the stakes got higher, and got first place, and then advanced to the next contest. And the competition got tougher, and the stakes got higher, and just kept going and going and going until I ended up winning what they call a district competition, and that allowed me to qualify to go out to Washington, D.C. for the international semifinals. And so that was a complete whirlwind of coaching and honing your speech and writing and working with people that are world champions to get you to a certain level. And it was an absolutely incredible experience. Ended up going out to Washington, D.C., winning the semifinal, and then becoming one of the top 10 best public speakers internationally through Toastmasters. And that was just an incredible experience. So I just sort of gave you the fast track there.
Sure. Yeah.
But what Toastmasters taught me, and really public speaking, was that I love to do this. I also thought I was a pretty good public speaker when I joined, but Toastmasters taught me, no, you can go up a lot of notches. And so that's what I did. So it's really allowed me to improve as a speaker and have the confidence to start my own business, Kim Presents. And so I go out and I give keynotes, motivational speeches. I help people hone their own confidence, because I think that's really scary to put ourselves out there, to stick our neck out there, try new things. Before the coronavirus hit, I was at the salon. Oh boy, Sandy, don't you miss the salon?
Girl, you don't even know. You don't.
Right?
Don't get started.
I know. Crazy. But I was at the salon, and the young lady doing my hair had even made the comment. She said, "Oh, I'm just so nervous to even call to make a doctor appointment or to make a reservation at a restaurant."
Oh,
And I
wow.
thought it was really interesting, you know, to not have that confidence to pick up the phone or to approach somebody, or, you know, those types of things that we really do need. And I think that goes back to personal confidence, finding opportunities. And then I also do keynotes on customer service. And so that also flows right into customer service too. How do we get businesses to do better, be better, serve people to the best of their ability? And so I share tips and tricks through that, because I've actually, in addition to being a television news anchor and reporter, I've worked a lot of different jobs, and it's just the way things panned out for old Kim Presents, for old Kim K.
And her jobs are probably better than Farrah's too.
Right.
Oh,
Were you a mirror observer?
would you say
Were you a server at one time? Were you a waitress?
we all were?
Yeah,
I was too.
I think so. Yeah. Oh, see, so then yeah, we all four were.
Wow.
No,
No, Sandy didn't wait tables.
I
She
can't
was-
do that.
She was
Oh,
a
you were
hostess. though.
hostess.
She was a hostess.
That's
with
right.
the
She was a hostess.
Yeah.
She was a pretty darn good one too, though.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Amazing. You have got to know where the tables are and where people sit. And yeah, I did
Right.
hosting for a little while when I lived in Florida. And it was a whirlwind. It was a big restaurant. I'm like, oh.
Joe, when he used to wait tables, Joe used to wear these knee-high socks.
Oh yeah, the knee
He used to
high.
wear shorts all the time and socks up to his knees, and he looked, I mean, a little goofy.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm sorry, awesome. He looked a little awesome, but
Awesome.
people loved it, and he was an awesome server. I remember, Joe, when you used to wait on us when we were going to the caboose at the beginning when I first met you.
Yeah, you have to stand up. I was like, hey, you got to stand up. I got to stand up because I got to make some money. So
Is this a local establishment in Texas?
Yes.
mhm.
Aha, okay. So it's not here. It's not a chain restaurant.
No, it's
No,
not.
no.
Mm-mm.
It'd be like but I always tell people up here, Kim, that it's like a mom and pop place of Dave and Buster's, though.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah, and it's a pretty spectacular place. We go there all the time. But anyway, I digress. So let me ask you real quick, Kim. So because you said earlier that you have been in the news and anchor, and so you kind of the medium that we go for you guys at home, like. Honestly, there is nothing special about what we're all doing here. This is literally like when you do your meetings at work, the four of us are sitting in front of our computers and a webcam, and we're just talking at a webcam, and then you guys see it look like we talk to each other, but so that's kind of how I imagine when you were out reporting, Kim, is like you have like one or two maybe people you're interviewing, but for a large part, you're talking to an audience that isn't physically there. They're digitally there. And so there you had that, but then you went into public speaking also. Can you tell me, what do you feel like, which one was more tougher for you, or which one produced the better results, or, I'm not going to try to diss one or the other, but tell me
not at all. I mean, no,
okay.
they're very similar and yet they're very different. And I know what you're saying, Jamie. So let's talk about news for a second. So one of the most stressful things is doing a live shot. So a live shot, obviously, all right, we're gonna send it to you in 3, 2, 1. You're live, and so you're standing out in, let's say, in front of City Hall, or you're downtown, or maybe you're at a fire, or a groundbreaking ceremony for a new business, or whatever the case may be. And it's so nerve-wracking because you think, oh my gosh, we're broadcasting to all of these homes. And yet if you think about it, you're just standing there and it's just you looking at a camera. So you don't really realize the magnitude. It's in your mind, but you're not hearing the feedback from, let's say, an audience when you're public speaking and you're talking to a crowd of, let's say, 50, 100, or 1,000 people. When you make a joke, you can tell right away if that joke
if it hit or not. Right?
Yeah.
Did this work? Did it not? Or you can tell really how you're doing. But I would say the context of the information shared is totally different. In news, you're sharing the facts, what's happening right now. Here's what people are saying. Here's a soundbite from a customer, or a soundbite from one of our lawmakers, whatever okay, so there's that. But then when you're doing for me, when I'm doing a keynote, a lot of times it's very motivational, Jamie, like we talked about, or it's informative, or it's a blend of both. So, or it's entertaining too. And so the two are very different, but I would say you can tell how you can gauge your reactions when you're in front of people. And that's really, when you present at work and you're presenting on a Skype call in a meeting, you could tell a joke and it could be crickets. And it's just because everybody's on mute. And so you think you're failing miserably, but that's not the case at all. It's just that people are laughing. You just don't know it.
Right. What's funny about that, what you mentioned is, so I had the pleasure at work of doing kind of what we do here. I had some panelists, and then we had everyone who was available in the company join in the call, and we kind of said, okay, so these are the three people we're going to be asking a bunch of questions to, and all of you are welcome to chime in, but honestly it's just kind of like a social hour, but more show based, if that makes sense. And in the middle of everything, so we're doing this, I was the host, and as people are talking, I'm like, there's one point where I'm like, okay guys, we're going to get really serious right here. I know we said it was going to be light and fluffy and positive kind of upbeat thing. And I was like, but I have to be honest with you. Is everyone TP secure these days? And it took a while. So it's funny because you get it. But for a second, the people was kind of like, oh, I thought this was, yeah. And then all of a sudden it took a couple more seconds, and then they all erupted in laughter. They're like, wait a minute, you're being okay. And I was like, yeah. So sometimes the audience, when you think when you think you told a joke that you thought was going to be good, and it is, but it takes the audience sometimes a minute to kind of catch up on things too.
Right. Especially when it's streaming, like we don't see comments for a little bit, and we're like, did that joke hit? And then all of a sudden, nope, it didn't. Or maybe it did.
Yeah.
That's awesome. When I was in theater, and I did some professional theater as well, I remember
you were in theater also.
Yes, I was.
See, she's one of those ones that God just like, here you go.
Yeah. Here's the talent.
Not talent.
Yeah.
But here you put a calculator. Well, I would need a calculator. Ask me to do any math, and I would run the other direction. On your math team.
Right.
No, I would be a very weak link on a team like that. So there you go. But when I was doing professional theater, I remember when it came to humor, the director I worked with, she said, okay, if it's not going well, the audience isn't reacting, speed up, go faster, go faster, go faster, like with the lines. And so that was really interesting too, that way we don't have any downtime or lag. It was like, okay, tell the joke, do another joke, especially what was that, Sandy?
I said, take notes, guys.
Yeah,
Take notes. But my jokes hit all the time, so I don't know what they're talking about.
I'm sorry, Kim.
Confidence, right here. Confidence.
No,
right
and of course that's the stage, right? So it's completely different than a virtual call, virtual talk. But yeah, it was just to keep that energy up, to feel it in the room. And so that goes back to public speaking. But granted, you don't want to fly through your speech either, but it's all about rhythm and cadence, Jamie, as you know, to slow down at those meaningful moments and then speed up at various times to have that vocal variety that we talk about. So there's a lot of layers to speaking and communication. And I think when I coach people and we talk about it, they say, I had no idea it was this complicated. I thought just hand me the notes and I'll read off of.
Right.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that would be easy. I wish it could work like that.
I know. And if it was easy, everybody would do it. But
yes. You know what? So that makes me, I want to ask you a couple questions real quick on that. How much time do you typically spend on let's just say like a 10-minute speech? How much time would you say you take to prepare for a 10-minute speech?
It's hard to quantify. I mean, the thing is, I think people have certain skills, right? And what I've learned with coaching people is that some people excel a lot at the memorization. Other people are really good at just, all I want to do is just bullet point my speech, and then I'll fill in the gaps in my mind and just speak it. I've worked with leaders that they don't even use notes. They just sort of do a speech off the top of their head. And I'm blown away by that because that's not at all how I would operate. But for me, I write out my speech and that helps me memorize it right away. Okay. And so then I just rehearse it and then I work through what helps with speech memorization. This is a good note for folks who are listening, is that it's always good to move to various parts of the room when you're making a new point in your speech. So if you say, and secondly, I go to the store to get, I was going to say TP, but Secondly, I go to the store to purchase books because doctors say books increase your lifespan by an additional 5 years. And so, at that point, I would move to one side of the room, and that helps me memorize because I know that at this point I'm moving to the right on this line, and that helps firm up that commitment to memory.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That makes sense. I hear you.
Yeah. So like a 10-minute speech, you work a little bit every day, but that's it. You have to work a little bit every day. So let's just say 30 minutes a day, 7 days a week. I'm not good at math. But yeah.
No, you're good, right?
Nap hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Nap hours.
Yeah.
But I think the takeaway from that though is that if you have a speech, is you're working on it though. So
Always. And that's the other thing. People say, "Oh, I just am after the long work day, and I know I need to rehearse. But I'm just so exhausted." And it is a grind. I mean, it really is a grind to get prepared. I mean, if you really want to do it well, though, if you really want to knock it out of the park, you have to commit to getting up in front of an empty room or talking to your dog or your cat or your guinea pig, or your goldfish, maybe all of the above.
right, yeah.
And giving them a show and putting it on, and I've heard too some speakers, and I agree with this. I don't think you have to do it full force every night. Like I'm on stage and I'm in front of those 1,000 people. You don't have to do it at 100%, but be ready, obviously, when the day comes, and always be rehearsing. Yeah, that's the big thing, is that rehearsal. And sometimes you're right. You just want to sit down after a long work day and just chill. But it's like a workout. You gotta run those laps, and you gotta rehearse that speech. So
working out. That's
That's Joe. That's Joe all over.
That's right.
9-minute workout. Yeah.
I want to ask another question here. Okay. It's out. I'm a Toastmaster too. I've worked on public speaking for many years along with Kim. But Kim, I know you are a hardcore speaker. Like you are awesome at it, right?
I appreciate
I know that I have honestly, I've got about 300 speeches under my belt.
Wow.
Public speeches that I've done.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to know, how many would you say you have under your belt?
Oh my gosh, another number that's difficult.
I'm sorry, but it is one of those things that as a speaker myself, I do wonder. I'm like,
he's trying to find the gauge. He's like, I'm here, he's here. How many more?
So here's the deal. For those who are not in Toastmasters, what you do is you give a speech to your club. So, and there are different guidelines. So here's a speech that requires you to use visuals. So bring in a prop. Or some people will use a PowerPoint presentation, or really the sky is the limit. Okay. Other speeches have you do. I talked about vocal variety, so you focus on that. Other speeches have you focus on leadership and talk about your leadership style. I mean, so it's all of these different educational tracks, but you have to write a new speech every single time. So Jamie, to your point, in Toastmasters, I'd probably say I've written maybe 25 or 30 speeches, and that's probably a generous estimate. But when it comes to the keynotes that I deliver, I've only written about 4 or 5, and those are longer, right? So the speeches we give in Toastmasters are about 7 minutes. Your keynote's typically about 45 to 60.
Oh,
and so it's taken me so I started Kim Presents in 2014, my speaking business. And so it's taken me since then to really hone that message or try new things. I mean, you're always trying material. It's like a comedian. You go out, you write stuff, you deliver it, you see how it performs. You start and then you see what audiences are asking or craving, and you take that into consideration, and then you really hone these beautiful messages that you can share with people and know that you're going to get a quality result. So anyway, for those keynotes, I've written about 5, and right now I'm really focused on 2 that I'm perfecting, and that's just how this process works. It's exciting.
I don't believe you. I think you're way higher, actually. I think you're way higher. You're being so modest right now, I think.
Yeah, I might be, right?
Yeah, totally.
So I have a question.
Yes.
And so, okay, so I can talk. I mean, it's why they brought me on, because I'm a talker. I've been talking for a really long time, but I've never done a public speech. my face flushes. I feel like it's getting warm right now, confessing all these things here. And so, like, how do you get over that? Like, will I ever overcome that hump, or I just have to be more calm? Like, what do I do?
No, Sandy, and people talk to me about that too. They're like, I am just so, it is terrifying. Public speaking is one of the number one fear. I mean, it's one of the top fears for most people. Like before, people are more scared of public speaking than death, than spiders,
Yeah.
than heights. And so, I always tell people it's like a light switch. It's like a mental shift. And when you're in front of people, it's almost you have to step outside of yourself and say, you're looking at yourself harder. You're your worst critic than what the audience sees.
Mhm.
And the thing is, the audience wants you to succeed. The audience wants you to do well because they're in it too. They want to listen to a fabulous person. So they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. And the other thing is, if you notice things like, oh, my voice is shaky, or like I'm sweating, like you talk about, my face is getting red, just confessing these things. You'll notice that more than the audience will. The audience has all these internal noises that you have to combat against. They're thinking about what they're going to do after they hear you speak, what they're going to make for dinner. Oh, I have to pick up the kids. Oh, I've got this huge project that I've got to deliver to my executives the next day. So they're thinking about all of these things. So your job is to help them forget about that and just be calm and cool and be confident in yourself. But it's truly a mental shift to get over that. And I would say that the more you speak, the more you put yourself out there publicly, and it can just be a smaller group. I'm not saying go and speak to 1,000 people right now, right after this call.
Tomorrow.
live, standing live in the park. No, starting off small, and it's amazing too. I was going to tell you, when I started speaking, I would get very, very nervous, even for 10 people. Even for 5 people. I mean, it is a nerve-wracking thing. And if anybody tells you that they don't get butterflies, they
Right.
get
Liars.
or
Yes.
get butterflies.
It's like someone who tells you they don't eat bones, the meat off of the bones from the ribs. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a woman named Carrie or not. Like, you're going to eat those bones.
That is a
Sorry.
very different analogy.
Oh, sorry. I digress, Kim. I apologize.
Yeah, sure. But anyway, but then Sandy, so then when I started competing and I went to the semifinals in Washington, D.C., and that was in front of an audience of 1,000 people, and they streamed it live around the globe.
Oh,
So
yeah. We were there. We were there virtually. I
Oh.
remember we were in the auditorium and we hosted we had your watch party in the auditorium at our job. And it was like, yeah, it was so cool seeing you up there.
And that support was felt, Jamie, seriously, because it's such a stressful thing, and knowing that you have people behind you that have your back is such a good feeling. I'm very grateful for that. But what's so funny is, so live streaming, if you fall on your face, like walking up the steps onto the stage and you fall, oh no, it's not this audience that saw, it's folks around the world that are streaming. All of those things that are really and so I talk about that light switch. It's like you have to flip the switch, turn it off, and with the light switch you're going to turn on is the charm. It's that being genuine. It's your genuine nature. It's just going for it. It's confidence in your message because you practiced and you're ready. And so that's the thing. But so after speaking to 1,000 people and then winning the semifinal, and then the finals was like, I want to say it was 4 to 5. I mean, it was several 1,000 people. Yeah. And now when I came back to Illinois, it's like, oh, I'm speaking to 50.
Right. Like, downgrade.
Not at all, Joe. No, not at all. But it's amazing when you put yourself, when you stretch yourself to try something, like, wow, I can do it. It's like weightlifting. It's like, I guess I'm going to try 15s today. And you're like, I did this. Hey, I did. Okay, I'm going to go for 20s tomorrow or the next week. Or, you build up that strength. It's the same thing with speaking. You're building up that strength. You're stretching yourself. You're getting stronger. You're getting better. And that's really one of the best things to overcome that fear, is just to get yourself out there. But even the virtual stuff is awesome. The Social UnDistancing Show is a great way to get live speaking. Yeah. So
I think it's time for a question. You quit, Jamie. Don't ask it. It's my turn. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I can see you like building up for a question
with the knee-high socks. Wow.
Right, exactly. It's my turn. No, I was kidding.
Okay.
My main thing is, so I've heard, I do a little bit of public speaking. It doesn't scare me as much as other people because I've done it for quite a bit. Not anything like Toastmaster level, but I do feel that I'm more comfortable in front of crowds than others. My question to you though is, do you believe in the mantra "fake it until you make it" for speeches?
I do. Yeah, I do actually. I do because, and the thing is, and I've even said that to people. I said, just fake it till you make it. And I think you can play that term in a number of different ways. So fake it till you make it. It's one of those things I always say. You want to smile. Yeah, every time you present or when somebody introduces you, you always come in with a smile because that's your first impression, and you never have a second chance to make a first impression.
Right.
So even if you are terribly nervous, you're going to put that smile on, and while it's a kind of fake it because you might be very nervous on the inside, but to the audience, it's that smile. I'm ready. I'm here. I'm ready to go. I'm going to deliver a fantastic message for you. And then through practice, getting better, getting more confident, getting stronger in what you're saying, you make it, right?
Right.
I look at fake it till you make it, not so much of putting on airs or pretending to be somebody that you're not, but it's more so believing in yourself, knowing that deep down you can do this, and then eventually it's like you're sculpted into the beautiful statue or the butterfly that you should have always been.
Right.
So, yeah. So
listen to her. That's what I'm talking about, Kim.
great. Yeah.
That's a good answer. Good answer.
Good answer.
What do you
Right,
think? How would you interpret it? Because you speak, like you said. So this is a fascinating conversation. I feel like I'm back in the lecture hall at university.
Well, you are here as the expert. I think anything I can do, I don't know that it's going to count. It's going to measure up to you. I've never given speeches to thousands of people like that. Like when you were talking about it, I was I literally started feeling the butterflies in my stomach. I was like,
I know. My hands are sweaty too.
I was like, whoa, that would be a whole new thing. Like I could just look out at a crowd. Like you're definitely right. It takes a while because you build up through each amount of people that you speak to, and then when you get low, or when you get to a crowd that's lower than the highest you've been, it's almost like, okay, I got this. But I've noticed that you still put in the same work, whether it's two people or if it's 50 or 100, you're still putting in the same amount of work for it. At least that's my opinion.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You stand behind your quality. You have to protect your brand.
Yes.
And so, yeah, that's very important that you always want to deliver that quality product to audiences. But it's truly a wonderful natural high to
it really is.
Yeah.
My high, guys, is making sure I can stick to the time, because my friends will tell you, Kim, like, it is easy for me to be like, go over the time. They'd be like, time? He threw that thing out the window. Like, what's going on?
I know. Full disclosure, we had our dress rehearsal the other day, and it was supposed to be 15 minutes. Jamie, you and I ended up talking for 45.
Oh yeah,
he's terrible. He's terrible at that. I'm like, hey, we gotta go. Speaking of, segue into, we have questions from our viewers that we need to get to, Jamie.
Exciting.
Yeah. So here's the question. Carrie Patton Jackson, one of our favorite viewers, is awesome. Chick-fil-A is awesome at customer service. I love that the young kids are being taught great interaction skills through their training. What are your thoughts? My pleasure.
Yeah. Wow. And that came from Carrie?
Yes.
Oh, Carrie. All right. Awesome. So I agree. I think that it is so important so a lot of the customer service, I think it comes from a strong workplace culture. And so being able to take new employees in, especially new employees that are excited and wide-eyed and ready to go, and really giving them a strong foundation to excel. What are your goals? What are your desires? Here's how our company can help you. Really communicating those things. I've talked to employees that have worked at various places, and some of them that were unhappy, I said, what was your training program like? And they said, training program? We didn't have one of those. Like, that's just, they gave me my vest and said, go.
Right.
And so that doesn't create a culture of confidence, of solidarity, of feeling like this company is there for me, and so I'm going to do a great job for them. It's all about it's all about making sure that the employee feels valued, so that feeling can go and be transferred to the customer. Or I used to work at the Walt Disney Company, and so customers, we didn't call them customers, we call people guests. A guest is somebody that I'm inviting into my home, that I want to be here. A customer is somebody who I'm selling goods and services to.
Right.
And so when you change that frame of mind, how much different people can be treated. But I agree, a good training program that allows young minds to embrace skills like we talked about, like public speaking, like interpersonal communication, thinking on the fly. All of those skills are so good at getting people where they want to go in the future. In fact, I was coaching someone who needed help writing his resume. He was graduating from college, and he showed me his resume. He said, I don't have a whole lot on here, and I'm really thinking I should take off this job right here. And he was a janitor at a grocery store. And he said, this doesn't at all apply to what I'm trying to pursue in communications. And
Right.
I told him, I said, leave it on here. Leave it on here, because that speaks volumes about the quality, the caliber of a person
Right.
that you are by being that quote unquote janitor. It shows that you're committed to first impressions.
Right.
You're available. You're willing to help. You know how to talk to people.
Right.
I mean, all of those things. You know how organization and he said, I had never thought of it that way. I said, no,
Right.
it's impressive. Keep
Yeah.
it on there.
Yeah, or to even hold a job that a lot of people feel is mundane. It shows
Yes.
to me that it's a level of responsibility. You knew that was a job that you needed to do, and so that's what I did. And so
Mhm.
I would have left it on there too.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I think all of us have to start somewhere, and so it's so important. You want to be true to yourself without putting on airs, so to speak. And I think we've all worked those jobs where maybe it's not on your resume anymore,
Right.
but you have to start somewhere. We all have those first time jobs, and I
Right.
think when we talk about public speaking, a lot of the beauty of it is sharing stories that everybody can relate to. It's a general concept that's like, oh my gosh, of course I know how that feels. Yeah, I know how it felt for a job interview or graduation or going to, I don't know why these things come to my mind, like going to the circus for the first time. But you're telling stories that people, I can relate to that.
Right.
So kind of a long-winded answer, but I support. I really appreciate Carrie's question. So
Right. Awesome. Well, Crispin is our producer, my wife, and she'd like to know how you can keep from stuttering or messing up your words.
Oh yes. So this is
That's a good one.
That is. So some people struggle more than others. So it kind of depends. You have to gauge your level. You have to be honest with yourself. There's a lot of speakers that have overcome a stutter. And that goes back to practice makes perfect. In fact, a Toastmasters world champion, he took the whole thing. He won the crown about 5 years ago now, actually put out a book about overcoming a stutter. And here he became the world champion.
Wow.
Public speaking. Yeah.
Wow.
Incredible. He had a beautiful story. He was funny. He was engaging. I mean, there's so much that goes into it. But overcoming the stutter, I would say practice. Write out that speech or your notes, or if you're presenting at church or you're presenting to a parent-teacher organization, wherever you're going to speak, make sure that you have those notes written out, rehearse them in advance. For me too, when I'm driving to my speaking engagements or I'm traveling, I always rehearse my speech out loud, and I do a little bit before I go on. For me, I'll run the speech, but the thing I do before I actually go out to speak, I'll just run the first part, just the first couple of sentences, just kind of prime the pump. Okay. Right. All right. That's top of mind. Go. If you start to tear into your speech and do different segments of it, it's almost like you'll forget it. So right before I go on, I just get those first 2 sentences, 3 sentences in my mind, tip of the tongue. Let's go. And that kind of helps get out the butterflies and get on with the show.
Get on with the show.
Get on with that show. That's right.
Kim, I know that you have to go, but we have one more question.
Oh my gosh,
and
is it 10:15 already? How have you?
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
We're trying, but John Matthews, one of our favorites, quote unquote, is
Self-proclaimed.
he has a question here. How do you convince a small group of people that they need your services as it would contribute to their success?
Sure. You know, John, it can take, sometimes it's like playing the lottery, right? First time isn't always a charm. Like buying the scratch off.
Oh, you're so right, Kim.
Oh, excellent answer. Excellent answer.
Well, no, I should give John more context, I feel, but no, it's really about coming back, and if people say, and providing value. So really find out what their needs are. Find out
Right.
where
Providing value. Highlight
Needs. What our needs
Our
are.
needs. I mean, their
Yeah.
needs.
what are the needs? What are the needs? How can you service those needs? If they don't need you right now, that's great. That's cool. Mind if I follow up in a couple of months? Or just
Right.
line every now and then, you know, just checking in, and really that persistence pays off. It's amazing how relationships that you've built over the years, even things from 5 years ago come back. Oh, are you still doing that? Yeah, I'm still okay. Well, we'd love to have you here. So it's crazy how
Right.
that works. In fact,
You
I had a
never
contact
know.
reach out to me. What was it? To contact from 10 years ago, reach out recently and just was inquiring about a public speaking. And it's like, wow, 10 years ago. So you just never know.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
so staying with time, it's now 10:16. We know that you had a hard cutoff, and we want to make sure that we get you out of here on time.
Oh my gosh, no, you guys are great. I've really enjoyed tonight. Absolutely. So
We have two.
I know you're just a wealth of knowledge, and I
No
appreciate
kidding.
that.
really?
And it's not just I mean, you know what you're talking about, and you've had experience in this, and so just
Right.
having that on the show, and like, everyone. I mean, you've got to listen to her. So you just gotta. She knows what she's talking about. She's done it.
Right.
She's
Yeah.
done it. It's not like she was like, "Oh, I want to do it," or "I've thought about doing it." She
Right.
did it. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh
She's
my
done
God.
it. So
Well,
make
yeah.
sure you visit her Facebook page. and-
Yes, at Kim Speaks. Did I get that?
Kim presents.
You know what? I'm sorry.
Here
Let me
on
tell you
the-
real quick. That happens because she had a hashtag that was around for a while, and I'm like, God, Lee, I got to get that out of my head. But it's at Kim Presents, and we put it in the comments.
Okay.
And we're gonna put it on the Facebook group so that people can know to go check you out there, Kim.
Awesome.
And with that, let me ask you: do you have any last minute this is kind of time for you to plug whatever you want to plug?
Right.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate you dropping my Facebook page again. Kim Presents in the chat window. I think that's fantastic. If people would like to go visit my website, I welcome that too. And I'm at KimPresentsdotcom, KimPresentsdotcom, and you see my name right here in the bottom of the screen. So anyway, definitely check it out. Drop me a line. Love to hear from you. And I just really appreciate this opportunity. I would say my final thought is, I know that all of us have been thrown for a loop with coronavirus, and it's difficult. I mean, I think the purpose of this show was born because of overcoming an obstacle like that.
Yeah.
And so just keep pursuing those passions. I mean, really take this time. If you don't know what it is that you want to do, try a variety of things: paint, exercise, write comedy, read books, whatever it is. I mean, follow that passion. I had to do that to figure out what I want to do. And I think that we're all just a work of art that's just trying to shine a little bit brighter. And so
There you go. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Man, doesn't that
Thank you
sound
so
good?
much.
yeah,
We're all a work of art.
You're all a work of art. That's the
Yeah.
phrase of the day,
I am.
everyone.
find the value, and you are a work of art. That's exactly right. That's
And
exactly.
for our last final question, Kim, is
I know it's coming. Yes.
you do okay. We ask all of our guests to give us a topic for a future episode.
Uh-huh.
Do you have an idea for a topic for us to cover in the future?
That's not too heavy.
Oh,
No, not
PG-13.
So I have a dog, and I think it would be so cool if you guys had a pet expert on, or like a dog expert. Somebody to talk about.
I know one.
I know
oh gosh.
one.
Oh god.
Maybe like they could put the dog in the frame, and how wonderful that would be. Or but
Yeah.
see their pooch, But yeah, I just think you need to talk to a pet expert about just animals and what they do and how they got into that profession, and tips for we're going to be coming up on the 4th of July here before we know it, and I know that our
Yes.
dog gets a little scared of the fireworks, but
Oh, that's a
also
good
just all things dogs would be cool.
Oh, that is
Kim,
perfect.
that is a great suggestion.
Yes, I love it.
So Caesar, if you're watching this, give us a call.
Right.
Just play.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Awesome.
Kim, thank you so much
Thank
for
you
coming
so
on
much,
tonight and
Kim.
sharing with us. It was an absolute blast.
It was a pleasure. Absolutely. Well, Joe, Jamie, Sandy, take
Thank you so
care.
much, Kim.
See you later.
You have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
What a breath of fresh air.
I am so motivated right now. I want to give speeches.
Yeah, she's pretty fantastic.
And then I'll go to bed and it'll probably subside. But for now, I want to give speeches.
I'm telling you, it's never easy to speak in front of an audience of any kind, and someone of Kim's caliber who's done as many as she has and has gone up as in front of as many audiences as she has. Like, it honestly is a great treat to have her on the show and to share with everyone. And so I hope you all go check out her website, go to her Facebook at Kim Presents, check her on there, friend her, like her, check out everything she has to offer. Remember, she does keynote speaking. She's a consultant and she's a communication coach. So if any of those ring out for any of you, reach out to her, see what she can do to provide assistance for you, and make sure that I mean, she's going to help you up your game if you're a company looking for someone.
Customer service, if you're looking to up your customer service for your business or something like that, man, that is just, that's a resource right there that you probably didn't even know was available for a lot of people. So it's having someone like that, just a little bit that we got to speak with her, my motivation went up. Now it may go right back down, but it's going to go up. It's up right now.
But currently, we're at a level.
Yeah, I'm at like 95 right now. It'll drop down to 75, but 95 right now is really impressive for me. I want y'all to know. So,
but I like the fact that she did say, try something while we're all try something new, and improve on what you're doing. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, because you don't think about it. Yeah, you have all this time on your hands, but is it productive time?
Right. Exactly.
So.
I asked that after my second nap.
I agree with that, Sandy, because I think about, like, honestly, the way the show was born out of that, like, would we have, the three of us have come together like this if this challenge hadn't been presented,
Probably.
I don't know.
Or it would have happened like way down the road.
Right. Or in a different fashion.
In a different fashion or something like that. But yeah.
It
would have been a different name.
Oh,
it would have been two guys wearing red shirts and Sandy.
That's a spoiler alert for another time.
Man, we had some other comments too.
Let's go back and review those, Joe.
Let's see here. So I posted this. I said, do you have any questions? So that's when Carrie popped in.
Okay.
And then another question I asked is, what are your biggest fears with public speaking? And of course, Mr. Matthews, that I talk too much. That's my fear.
No, John Matthews, that's silliness.
I don't know where he would even have. What kind of fear is that? and then this one here said that it's public. That's her biggest fear.
It is that it's public.
Oh my goodness.
That makes sense. I didn't understand it at first when I read it, but now that you've said it out loud, I'm like, oh yeah, it makes total sense.
That's what makes it fear.
Yeah.
And then of course, Carrie, you're gonna have to tell us about this one, because
again,
you've fallen off the stage once and then you did ... again. So you were either drinking on both occasions.
Sandy, were you there that night we were at the library and the guy, or Joe, one of y'all, and the guy was dancing on the stage? And so when we used to go out to the club back in the day, we used to like to dance on the stage and usually like right in the front. But I remember this guy who was twirling around in circles and he literally just twirled right off the stage.
Oh, man. I don't think I was there for that, but I do remember a guy trying a backflip. He tried to do a backflip in the middle of the dance floor.
No.
He did a half flip.
Oh my gosh.
No.
So I was like, yeah, dude, don't do that again. Don't do that again.
Oh.
Anita said, our guest this evening is totally opposite from yesterday's guest. You should hire her. Her resume is awesome.
Anita, I agree.
I don't know. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I love Kim. Don't get me wrong, but pineapples? Just saying, she was drinking out of a pineapple cup.
Right. That was awesome.
Sorry.
And then, of course, Carrie is getting my point very across with my husband considered a speech.
I think so. I agree with her 100%.
Well, he is your audience, and technically, you need one person to listen to you to be
Either
public speaking.
talk
That's
to your
right.
dog or your husband.
Right.
The cat's not listening anyway.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
The cat will not listen. Cats are
Cats.
dumb. Rod, evening.
Evening.
Evening, Rod.
Pleasure to have you here. Someone was watching on. I got a question from somewhere else. And
Okay.
it's not really a question, but I thought this is something that people can relate to.
Uh-huh.
Every speech I've done, this is from Tim Harlow. Hey, Tim. Every speech I've done, after it was finished and I sat down, I'll think, oh, I forgot to say this, or I wanted to make another point. How many people have gone through that?
Oh, all
Me,
the time.
You, Sandy?
when I'm done fighting with Eric, I'm like, dang it, I should have said that. So when I'm going with my speech to my husband, yes, Kim, I feel your pain.
I feel your pain, Eric. I'm so sorry.
I should have brought something back up from 2005.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It's really not complete without that old stuff.
I think John had an upset stomach for some reason. He's over here.
Again, strange.
I think he was. Never mind.
Oh. Miss Carrie, Picasso painted me.
Yes, he did, Carrie.
We will-
Yes,
yes.
You are so valuable. Yes, you
you
are.
are absolutely a work of art.
Man, John was busy today.
Great show for real dough.
For real dough.
Thank you, John.
Thanks,
Appreciate you.
John.
That was very complimentary of you.
Yeah.
I know. And he doesn't usually pass
Hand
those
those
out.
out.
Yeah. Nicole said she was awesome. Oh, yeah. She
Thanks
was
for
definitely
watching,
awesome.
Nicole.
Yeah. And everyone said fantastic guest. Great guest. And then Carrie said 75% is still passing Joe. Just saying. That's my
Carrie,
motivation level.
You are motivating.
95
me
to
more.
75.
I see. Oh,
Oh, man.
that's so funny.
Yeah.
So here we are again, guys. It's 56 minutes in.
56 minutes in.
Isn't that crazy? Like,
It went by really fast. She just, I mean, she was seriously, fresh air. I mean, I liked her, what is the word that I'm looking for?
Her aura.
her
Her aura, but there's something else.
her charisma.
Charisma.
Ambiance.
Ambiance. I
don't
think of
get-
like
ambiance is like things, right?
I
No,
can't think of
ambiance is like the
crickets.
feeling of a room or lighting of a room, the ambiance.
I'm still
Okay.
trying to think of the word. And I guess that I would not qualify for Toastmasters if I can't think of a word to come up with.
I think her personality exudes
Oh.
some confidence.
Rod
Maybe.
says energy.
Yes, she very energetic.
You
Yes.
could totally be in Toastmasters, Sandy. We need to find a Toastmasters club and have you go to a Toastmasters club,
Jamie,
give
okay.
your first speech, and then come back on the show and show us how it went down.
So, okay, when I talk about cooking, we talk about 3 ingredients, okay?
Uh-huh.
So Toastmasters
Oh my gosh,
requires
Sandy.
a lot of effort.
If I can get you to move up to 4 ingredients, I know there's a chance for Toastmasters. We're gonna
Jamie,
work on that
I've been
this
this way. How old am I? Don't be
Right.
nosy and asking me how old I am. I've been this way for a while. Okay.
You know what? But you can change. I promise.
She did say like a light switch.
That's right. You turn it on, and then it'll be like you're just
Right.
putting a mask on
I'm
sometimes.
going to work on that light switch. I think my
Hallelujah.
circuit came unplugged a long time ago.
You just need to get it reconnected. And it doesn't need to be permanent. It just needs to be for those times we need it
Right.
to be.
Exactly.
And then you can unplug it again.
That means I have to read and I have to write and probably some arithmetic in there.
So, like the 7 minutes to like the whole, I got to give a speech for 7 minutes.
By the time you know it, Sandy, you'll be beating me in number of speeches and maybe Kim on the number of audience members too. I
Yeah.
really think she was being generous, guys. I'm just saying that because there's no
I
way.
know when she said that, I'm like, and Jamie has 300. Either
No.
Jamie's inflating or she's.
No, and I was actually going under. Like, yeah,
Oh, you were trying to make her feel better.
no, I was just. I was like, how many have I done? I was like, I know the last time I actually counted, I'd have had 300, but that was a couple years ago. So I was like, okay, we'll go with that.
So we need someone from the local Toastmasters group. I think would be cool to try. I think it'd be cool for myself and Sandy to try a Toastmasters meeting just to see how it's like. And that way you're not going by yourself. I will go with you.
Like I'll sit in the audience and I'll applaud and I might listen. But I mean, for me to get up there, oh, that's just too much.
Look, you're in front of 15 people now. So
you were in front of 30 people at one time,
but
Sandy.
I can't see them. So it's like radio. I can't see them.
You know, you'll just there's you're gonna do awesome. Actually, I can't wait to see it.
That's homework that I'm gonna get an incomplete in.
She's already said it. John,
gosh.
I mastered toast years ago. Smuckers. Thanks, John. I appreciate that.
That whole part about what
Thank you.
what the customer needs.
Right. Yeah. Remember
Just
that.
putting that out there. Just putting that out there.
Did you bring that in? Let's talk about tomorrow's show.
Oh, yes.
So tomorrow's show is, again, it's Whatever Wednesday, and we're
Whatever
bringing on
Wednesday.
a makeup artist, Kylie Boyd, who used to be
She can help
Miss
out with
Teen
this over
Texas, Miss Teen Lubbock. She's Miss Collegiate Texas, so she has competed in pageants before, so she definitely knows how to do makeup. And we're going to make it even better because she's going to be doing her makeup during the show.
Wow.
What? So it'll be like this, Joe?
Right.
Awesome.
It's gonna be like that. Well, actually, or we could do it like this, where we, like that, where we can be alone.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And while she's doing the makeup. So I think that's going to be really cool. And it's just going to be something different. And we can ask her all of these questions while she's doing, like, why are you doing that? Why did you do this?
Tell
I'm
your
gonna learn a
teens.
whole lot because that's exciting.
Me
for
too,
me.
Sandy. You and
Right.
I both.
So it's
Girl.
crazy in photography. I
Girl.
don't do makeup myself, but when I'm editing people's faces, like
Mhm.
contouring and dodging and burning and stuff like that, and then understanding how makeup can really make a better picture, I will let you know if you don't do good makeup, it can really show in your images. So it's really important.
Yes.
So, Joe, and be honest, because you've taken my family pictures for years, and the only thing that I do is I wear
Zero
lipstick.
touch-up.
How hard is that for you to edit my face?
It's not.
Oh, really? You don't have to go in there and do the colorings and stuff?
He's
Nope.
like, you got a fine face, Sandy. It's fine. He's like, I don't have to do anything there.
Nope.
Your family is okay. That's what he's
Nope.
saying.
They're the
Nope,
okay.
all I do is remove some blemishes if you happen to have some. And so part of that is the lighting. So if you can get the lighting right,
Mhm.
then the rest
This
of
is a
the
blemish right here. Giant blemish.
then the rest of the image comes along with it. So
Oh, cool.
Awesome. So make sure, tell your friends, maybe the kids even want to watch this. I know kids watching the makeup videos is a big thing. So
It's
tomorrow
huge.
night, yeah.
And I think your kids that are about to be wearing makeup, that age where you're going to start letting them wear makeup, this would probably be really good because you make a lot of mistakes as a teenager trying to put makeup on and all
Right,
that.
Sandy. Right.
Absolutely.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's draw them right. Let's draw them right. Okay.
Yeah.
Put those Sharpies up.
Eyebrows should not be Sharpies. I'm just saying.
Just saying.
Okay, so some eyebrows are intense, okay? And that's all I look at. Like if you're talking to me and your eyebrows are intense, that's all
They're
I'm
loud, right? Like all you hear is the eyebrows.
That fucking same commercial. That's what I think of.
Oh man.
So
Google
join
it.
us tomorrow night, guys. Okay. We're going way over and we don't want to. And come back Thursday night for our lightsabers guy. And Friday for our Freaky Friday episode and a special guest.
And we have a
really
guest.
special guest.
Awesome.
I'm really excited. So as usual, everyone,
Remember to wash your hands.
for 20 seconds.
You filthy animals.
Good night,
Have a
Good
everyone.
night, guys.
Bye.